inshallah, you can please be seated and make yourself comfortable. I'd like to seek your cooperation by switching your mobile phone to silent mode to avoid an interruption. Inshallah, we will do our program also. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for our brothers and sisters. And I would like to welcome our guests, Mr. Kamudin Ahmad and Mr. Subhan Muhammad, for being here with us today to discuss on the liberalization of minimum insurance. Thank you so much for coming, inshallah, and I would like to welcome our Dean of IIiBF, Dr. Sheikh Musa, to give the opening remark for today's talk. Please welcome Dr. Sheikh Musa.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. When you feel more comfortable to hold a mic like this, you just do it. Thank you to our distinguished guests who have been able to spare some time to share with us from Malaysian Takaful Association. Of course, they are friends to me, and as I have been also part of the Takaful industry for some time, and it's always good to meet up now, not in the Takaful companies, but in the university. I hope the setting and the environment will be different. Maybe just to share with you, this will be the first of a series of sessions that we will have with MTA, and I hope it will generate lots of interest, particularly as the title shows, liberalization is something that you cannot go back, and you will have to address as and when it comes. And surely our guests will share what are the challenges and also the opportunities in Takaful and moving forward. And I'm sure you are also as eager as anyone else. The question that I always get is, what happens after I graduate, right? So take this opportunity to ask as much questions about the industry, and maybe even the professional qualifications that the industry offer that you may be keen to pursue. On top of that, I've shared with our guests that in fact this morning I just got approval from the Dean's Council to offer a specialization on Takaful and Takaful. Alright, so we are looking forward to more collaboration with MTA and how we could structure our program with specialization in Takaful and Takaful, especially with industry engagement and also placements and research, so that we will be a significant part, inshallah, and to contribute to the Takaful industry. I think if I talk much more, then you know this will be another lecture. I had enough of lectures already. I think it's time for us to sit and listen. And thank you again. Can you give a round of applause for our guests?
Thank you for Dr. Sheikh Musa for the opening. Inshallah, without further ado, I will pass the baton to Sister Hafizah to conduct a guest speaker series as the moderator for the series today. Inshallah, tafadhal mashkur.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Okay, let me introduce myself. You can call me Hafiza Harun. I used to be in the industry previously, okay, but now I'm doing my PhD under the IIiBF, and then Alhamdulillah I just submitted my thesis last week. So just pray for my next survivor. Okay, so today I have been entrusted by the IIiBF Student Society to be a moderator for this session, which is known as IIiBF MTA Guest Speakers Series 2017-2018. And the title is very interesting. Is the liberalization of general insurance and Takaful in Malaysia, issues and challenges. Okay. So today we are very glad to have two key speakers. To talk about the topic which is separated under two topics, which is the challenges, also the updates on the liberalization progress of Takaful in Malaysia. So for the first speaker, I think let me introduce a bit about Encik Suparno Ahmad. He's a head of general operations, Hong Leong MSID Takaful Berhad. Okay, I just read here. Then Encik Suparno is graduate from UiTM Shah Alam with BBA Honors Insurance in 1998. He obtained his MBA from UiTM in 2010, and he started his career in Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad in 1998, and with other Takaful operator for the past 10 years. He worked in various capacity as claims examiner and assessor for both line of business, general and family Takaful. He also has experience in underwriting, Takaful placement, as well as treaty renewal negotiation and business analyst. In 2011, he has been selected as a volunteer under HSBC Asia Pacific CSR program to assist Earthquake Commission. It's a CSR project on the claim assessment following two major earthquake claims in October 2010 and February 2011. And he's also involved in the Takaful industry initiatives such as development and implementation of IIiBF, de-tariffication and Takaful market pool. So I think that he's a very well-experienced person. So without further ado, so I would like to invite Encik Suparno to deliver his speech, and we don't want to have any question right now, so we will open the session for question and answer after the right session that will be announced later. Okay, falyatafaddal mashkura.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the organizer inviting me for this wonderful event today, where I would like to share the industry updates for the Takaful insurance industry, what's happening in the Malaysian market, especially on the phase liberalization, specifically for motor insurance, motor Takaful, and fire insurance, fire Takaful. Right? So without further ado, I just continue with my presentation to you. So the content of the presentation is a quick update on the market performance for Takaful industry as at September 2017 for family Takaful, general Takaful, and the second part will be on the phase liberalization. How, why, when, how was it conducted, what is the benefits to the consumer, and how it will affect the industry, the Takaful industry as a whole. Right? And then the update from the industry on the motor selector. So let's go on the Takaful industry update. So for family Takaful, the result for January until September this year, the new business contribution for the period of January to September 2017 for family Takaful have generated 3.2 billion of gross contribution from new business, which is an increase of 9.4% as compared to the same period for the 2016. Whereas for the group ordinary family business has registered a decrease of 0.5% to 1.467 million as compared to the same period last year in 2016, which is recorded as 1.474.5 million. And for the individual ordinary family business registered an increase of 24.4%, which is to 1.057 billion as compared to the same period for the last year. Okay. For the general Takaful, for the report of January to September 2017, for the period, the general Takaful has registered a gross return contribution of 1.932 billion, which is an increase of 5.5% over the same period of 2016. So the chart here is to show the claim incurred set date for 2017 and compared to the previous years. Okay. So what does it mean? For the premium that been collected or contribution collected for this period 2017, the loss ratio recorded at 55.4%, meaning to say we have about 44% of that reserve belong to the company. And meaning to say it's a margin for the industry. So this statistics is from the source of ISM report. Okay. So we have the video, right? Camera.
Auto insurance and Takaful. How you can make a difference today. Before July 2017, comprehensive motor insurance and Takaful premiums were determined by a tariff based on factors such as the model, the age, and the engine capacity of vehicles, and no claim discount, which gradually increases each year up to a maximum of 55% if you don't make any claims. Come 1st of July 2017, motor insurance and motor Takaful will be liberalized in stages. Comprehensive and third-party fire and theft coverages will be de-tariffed as part of efforts to inculcate and incentivize good driving behavior and ultimately to reduce the number of road accidents in Malaysia. What are the benefits of liberalization? 1. More choices of new and innovative products. 2. Smoother and more efficient services. And 3. Fairer pricing with premiums based on risk profile group, while still maintaining the no-claim discount. So, what can you do to make a difference? Adopt good driving behavior, drive safely, follow traffic rules to avoid getting into an accident. And remember, don't use your mobile phone while driving. Don't speed. Observe the speed limit at all times and drive safely. Follow your vehicle's maintenance schedule to reduce the chances of accidents caused by worn-out or faulty parts. Shop around for the best option. Different insurance and Takaful providers will offer different rates and coverage. Look for the one that suits your needs the best. The liberalization of motor insurance and motor Takaful means progress for our nation, moving towards better protection for Malaysians.
Okay, that is the video awareness for public awareness, which is launched by the conjoint between Kiam and MTA. So for the benefits of the public of the what is the clarification all about for motor insurance. So what is it all about? So it is a phased liberalization of the motor and fire tariffs, provides for the removal of tariffs through a phased approach. So what we learn from India, China and Japan, where they have embarked on the big bang approach, which result to a negative impact to the insurance industry as well as in 2 or 3 years has impacted to the consumer as well. So our regulator, Bank Negara, has looked at the approach rather than to have a big bang. It is based on a phased approach, which is by staggered. Okay. So in this new environment, the insurance and Takaful industry will have the flexibility to offer motor and fire products with new features and market-based pricing, which is based on the risk profile groups of the policyholder. Previously, the rate is still based on the table in the area. So now it is purely based on the risk profile, which is defined by the individual insurance company or Takaful company. So why de-tariffication is happening? So it is to strengthen incentives for the efficiency improvements and sound risk management between the general insurance and Takaful sector. And it is to offer greater flexibility and competition in pricing the motor and fire products. Unlike before the de-tariffication, so everyone is using a standard tariff. So you can go from company A, company B, company C with the same pricing. Now with this environment, you can shop it around basically with from few Takaful providers for the insurance industry. And then it is to drive improvements in underwriting and claims management to deliver the best services and value to the customers. So in order for the insurance company or Takaful providers to compete, this is one of the factors that might be used by the consumer for them to make a decision whether they want to go or to subscribe with the coverage with the company. How this been implemented? The motor and fire tariff liberalization will be implemented in a phased approach, which I mentioned earlier on. Unlike for experience in India, China and Japan, it is totally big bang approach. So, which is to allow time for the consumers and industry to adjust to the new operating environment. Okay. So how it was implemented on the tariffication? So there are two sets of the item, which is for motor business, and the other portion is for fire business. So prior to 1st July 2016, all the insurance company and Takaful providers are providing the products as defined under the tariff. Okay. So there was a gradual adjustment allowed by the regulator for the identified risk groups. For instance, for motor buses, for high-risk motor vehicle, Bank Negara allowed a certain percentage of increase. That was before the July 2016. So effective from 1st July 2016 onwards, the industry has the flexibility in product offering to the markets, to the consumers. So whereby a licensed person, which is referring to the insurance company or the Takaful provider, shall continue to offer the same products at the same price that were being offered as at 30th June 2016. Such products shall be offered in accordance with the tariffs. Licensed person may introduce new products at premium or Takaful contribution rates as determined by the licensed person, which is based on the market rates. Okay? So it allows the Takaful company or the insurance company to offer other products other than defined under the motor tariff or fire tariff. With effectively from 1st July 2017 onwards, for motor, the pricing for third-party product shall be in accordance with the motor tariff, and any pricing adjustment which the bank may specify for the identified classes of vehicles. What does it mean? For motor insurance or motor Takaful, the minimum cover is third-party cover. So pricing for third-party cover is static. You cannot deviate from the tariff. So if you want to deviate, if the insurance company or Takaful company want to deviate with the pricing, it must obtain the approval from the regulator, which is Bank Negara. So at the same time, flexibility in product pricing, which is for the comprehensive and third-party fire and theft product, which the price can be adjusted or vary from the tariff. Okay, licensed persons will be able to determine the premium or Takaful competition rates for such product, and it is no more regulated under the tariff. Okay. For fire, the pricing of fire product shall be in accordance with the fire tariff, and any pricing adjustment which the bank may specify for identified categories of risks. Okay, still continue to use the fire tariff, and for a few risks which is considered in the industry high risk, for instance furniture risk, then you will be subject to the regulator agreement approval for the industry to increase the rates. Okay, what happened next? So the insurance company, Takaful industry need to update to regulator, Bank Negara, on periodical on the statistic. What happened then? From 2019 onwards, the regulator will see the progress and impact of the phase liberalization and will be evaluated to determine on the readiness of the consumers as well as the industry for further liberalization. So this is to minimize the so-called big bang approach, okay, for the Malaysian market, unlike what I mentioned earlier on as compared to India, China, and Japan approach. So what are the risk factors that will be determine the rates of motor Takaful or insurance? Under the motor tariff, the pricing is based on make and model, the age of motor vehicle, and the NCB. Why make and model? The Proton, Mercedes, definitely the price is not the same, and over period number of years, the value of the motor vehicle will depreciate, right? And then NCD, the factor of NCD. So the maximum NCD is stand for a no claim discount. So if the policy owner has not made any insurance claim or Takaful claim for the existing period, and for the next renewal, he is entitled for the stage percentage of the NCD. So it is the percentage of NCD gradually increase from 25% up to 55%. Right. So these are the three main factors under before the verification of phase liberalization on how we price the motor insurance or motor Takaful. Under the new environment of phase liberalization, so the factors that will be determined to come up what is the pricing based on the risk profile, which is identified by the individual insurance company or the Takaful operator. It will be based on definitely vehicle age, the driver's age. Okay, there is a study on it. The younger of the driver, the more it is prone to the accident. Okay, and the driver's profession, there is a different profile between a person who is engaged in a business of marketing as compared to the person who is using the motor vehicle just to go to work, to the office, or as a student. Depending on students, if you are involved in a lot of field work, then this scenario will be probably different. And of course, car model, make and model, the safety, car safety. So you will notice that there's a lot of design change, engineering design change for the motor vehicle for many years. Okay. Previously, if you notice that the government has emphasized that for the manufacturer to have the third brake line, for instance. Now, there is probably in the future that the manufacturer will improve on the fuel efficiency, number one. Number two, probably change of the fuel consumption from petrol to another renewable energy for the motor vehicle. And of course, safety also will be one of the criteria will be imposed to the manufacturer. Okay? And the maintenance records. Whether the drivers or the owner of the motor vehicles is following the maintenance schedule as advised in the manual of the manufacturer. Okay, the traffic records. So there is a talk within the Ministry of Transport and the association that probably in the future to inculcate a good driving behavior that the information on the traffic reports. In Malaysia we have Kejora. Okay, this is for the demerit points for those people or drivers who like to run the traffic light, or simply nowadays it is a trend that the drivers are using the smartphone while driving. Previously, we used to hear about that the campaign of don't drink and drive. Now, it's totally different now. People or drivers are used to have the smartphone in one hand, and the other hand is on the steering. So you can imagine that how dangerous it is. Even 2 seconds that you off from the road, it poses a critical danger to not only to the drivers but to the other road users as well. And last but not least, on the vehicle location, where these motor vehicles being parked. Is it in a garage? Is it bonded? Is it open air? So this is one of the factors that the underwriters will consider in terms of the pricing for the motor insurance. So what are the benefits to the consumers? So lower risk to be charged with lower premium or contribution rates. Okay, what does it mean? This is just point of summary. If we understand that previously the insurance premium or Takaful contribution for auto, it is based on previously by tariff. So meaning to say, good drivers are also supporting supporting for the bad drivers. Okay, because why? Everyone is getting the same price. Okay, so that is not the whole idea. That's why we have the phased approach of utilization. So we need to say that bad drivers will be not being penalized, but will have to pay a little bit additional of the premium as compared to the good drivers. Okay. In the long run, it is to inculcate the drivers to have to follow the traffic rules. Highways will be appropriately incentivized to undertake measures to either reduce risk exposure or improve risk profile. So this is what we hope in the long run after the implementation of the tariff for motor. Under the de-tariffication environment, so we are expecting greater product choice, customized, cost-efficient and preferred distribution channels. What does it mean? So under the motor tariff, previously, it will be charged on annual basis on the straight line method. So if a consumer or customer who has more than one motor vehicle, which he might not be using every day, so he is paying, basically he is paying more on the motor insurance or motor Takaful, whereas he is not driving the motor vehicle for the whole year. So in a way, it is a waste for the consumer. So we are hoping that in the few months, probably a few insurer or Takaful provider will offer pay as you drive concept. Okay, so it is still at the early stage. A lot of legislation need to be changed, mindsetting of the consumers as well need to be changed before that product can be developed and enrolled in Malaysia. I'm not going to explain further on the distribution channel, and I do believe Mr. Kamaludin will explain further on that. Ability to vary coverage limit or purchase optional extensions. So under the tariff environment, the insurer and Takaful operator, they can offer another extension of the products. For instance, NCD protector. Okay, meaning to say that in the event of accident, the policy holder make a claim, and if he has this extension, NCD protected, so for next renewal, his NCD is still not affected. That is one of the example. Okay. So under the de-tariffication environment, we hope that a better disclosure of product features, coverage limits, premium rates or contribution rates, and new product features and options available for the consumers. So the list of MTA members companies which is currently offering motor Takaful products, there are five companies, which is Etika Takaful, Hong Leong NSIG Takaful, Syarikat Takaful Malaysia Berhad, Takaful Ikhlas Berhad, and Zurich Takaful Malaysia Berhad. So all of them is offering the motor Takaful. Okay. So what is the effect of the tariffification? How it will impact the insurer and Takaful companies under this environment? So the insurance and Takaful industry in Malaysia, like other financial sectors, is highly regulated by Bank Negara. Okay. So prior to the introduction of the liberalisation, several governance and solvency measures have been introduced to these companies to ensure that the insurance companies and Takaful operators are financially strong. Okay. in the India environment, what happens is when it is a big bang approach, the premium income for the industry has been slashed about 50%. And then we know that for the fact in terms of geographical, in India they are open to catastrophic losses. So with premium income is not that big, which cannot support the sale exposure of the losses. So what happens is most of the insurance company in India is operating at loss, but thank God they are saved by the investment return. So they are still in the business, but they are hoping that the situation keep improving. So based on that experience, Bank Negara, the regulator, has introduced on the framework, several on the governance and the solvency measures, just to make sure that the companies, insurance companies and the Takaful operators can absorb the risk exposure. Okay. On top of that, risk-based capital framework, which was introduced to ensure that companies' reserves are in line with the risk underwritten by them. If the company is active in insuring large accounts with high risk profile, it has to make sure that its capital is adequate to meet its liabilities in the event there is a loss from this account. So for the insurance company, Takaful operator, definitely they will be up by the reinsurance or the Takaful companies. For those risks that no support from the reinsurance or the Takaful, then this is the risk-based capital approach will come into play. Whether the company is strong to sustain the business, that will be need to be addressed as per this risk-based capital framework. On top of that, insurance company and Takaful operators are also required to be more efficient as in this competitive environment, because everyone is competing based on the pricing. That is the mindset. Unlike during the tariff, the price is almost the same. Everyone will follow the tariff. But under this de-tariffication environment, the price will be very sensitive. So, in order to attract the consumers, then you have to operate efficiently, right? Okay. This will be one of the measures that the consumers will look at. That is how efficiently they are servicing the consumer, the way to buy a product, or when they have a claim, right? So this will be determinant factors for the consumers, whether they want to go for next renewal, or probably they want to go to somewhere else, okay, for the next renewal. There are impacts under the de-tariffication environment, which is the insurer and Takaful operators are likely to use online platforms to market their products. Consumers will be able to purchase their insurance policy or Takaful cover at the click of a button. So this is what happening in Japan. The price is super ultra sensitive. So how the company want to attract, they need to reduce their operating costs by eliminating the intermediary to market the product. So how then to approach the consumers? So that one of the initiatives is to have the online platform, and it should be remembered that this online platform should be a simplified product, easy to understand, and attractive to the consumers. That is the basic rule for the online platform. And I guess Mr. Kamludin will elaborate further in his presentation about the channel distribution. And however, with the online platform, it doesn't mean that the role of the conventional marketing channel by using agents or brokers will diminish. Why? there are segments of the public who prefer and are comfortable to deal with insurance companies, Takaful operators through their agents or the brokers. Agents or brokers have a wealth of knowledge on products sold by them and are able to advise consumers effectively. Because while they are in the market, they know who's who in the market, who is the underwriter, who is the best provider of the coverage for motor and for fire. The strong relationship they have developed with their agents over time will also work in their best interest. Why? Because their main source of income is based on the commission. So in order to have a so-called repeated customer, they need to service the consumers. Okay? In the event of accident, normally the policy owners will look for the agents, ask for the assistance to have from day one of the accident until the completion of the repair of the motor vehicle. So under the de-tariffication environment, the industry has been required by the regulator to have the motor Takaful product selector available. So this is to discover the products that best suits motor Takaful protection need, right? So this is available online, so you can browse through at the MTA Malaysian Takaful website. So that is the link. So for more information on the phase liberalization, you can browse through to the IIiBF website or the Malaysian Takaful Association website. There is section on the update, the standard communication on the phase liberalization for the industry. So what happened after the roll-out of the de-tariffication since 1st July 2017 until now? So there are public feedback after the implementation. A joint campaign has on the awareness of the liberalization of the insurance and motor Takaful has been carried out by IIiBF and Malaysian Takaful Association (MTA) has given big impact in disseminating to the public the key aspects of liberalization. So one of the tools that we communicate to the consumer is the video that you watch on. So associations have received positive feedback from public and will further intensify the campaign. Okay, just to share that on periodical approach, if not mistaken, on quarterly basis, it is Carnival Kewangan organized by Bank Negara, and it is one section in this Carnival Kewangan. The request for the insurance companies and the Takaful providers to involve on this initiative and to educate the consumers as well. So awareness plan to the public. There are still a lot of awareness campaigns that are being and will be carried out by associations, especially the need to compare the protection offered. Because this is still at the beginning stage, after a few months of the implementation. Okay. So the important message to the public: low premium or contribution doesn't mean that the insurance company or Takaful provider will offer the good coverage. That is always not true. Okay? But for a beginning, that is the mindset thing that people will go for the lowest, the cheapest premium for the motor insurance. So I guess that's it for my simple presentation on the phase liberalization on the motor and fire insurance and Takaful. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, MTA Ahmad, for the the update on the liberalization phase by Malaysian industry. So I think that we look at the positive side of the liberalization, in which is actually benefit the consumer, right? So because I know that the tariff also have the pro and cons as well as the liberalization. So with this kind of good progress by Malaysian Takaful operator industry, I think that we have to actually monitor the next progress, which is up to the 2018, 2019, isn't it? 2019 as delivered just now in the slides, I think the earlier slide. So for the second topic that we are going to have today is distribution challenges in the liberalized environment. You know that the Takaful industry is relying on the agency forces to distribute the product, right? So for this topic, we have a very experienced person here, is Encik Kamaludin Ahmad, the Chief Executive Officer of Maybank Ajias Holding Berhad. So let me introduce a bit about the background of Encik Kamaludin. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Maybank Ajias Holding Berhad since December 2013. Maybank Ajias, what is the Maybank Ajias? Maybe some of you do not familiar with this name. It's a holding company of Etika Insurance and Takaful Berhad, and he's responsible for driving and managing the overall strategy, profitability, and growth of the group insurance and Takaful business. Aside from managing the life and family and general businesses, he also served as a group head of insurance and Takaful at Malayan Banking Berhad since December 1st, 2013. He served as a Chief Executive Officer of Etika Insurance Berhad. Okay. For that, right? Okay. So he has more than 20 years of experience in financial industry, okay? And then Mr. Encik Ahmad served as a head of corporate finance, strategy and performance of IIiBF Group Berhad. And he also was with the American International Group, AIG, and American Multinational Insurance Corporation for 15 years before he left as Regional Vice President, Asia Pacific. And he held several key management positions in AIG Malaysia Insurance Berhad and AIG Asia Pacific Insurance Berhad. And he also served with Bank Negara, Securities Commission, and M Investment Bank. So he has been a member of Institute of Actuaries England since 1991, and Encik Ahmad holds bachelor degree in science honours from University of Kent, Canterbury, England. So without further ado, I would like to invite Encik Kamaludin to deliver his speech. Falyatafaddal mashkura.
Thank you, Hafiza. Next time I'll try to give a shorter version. It was a bit too long. Okay, Assalamualaikum. I will try to. I forgot to make this look like an MTA slide. I was like kind of rushing the slides, so it still look very much Etika, yellow color and so on. But just maybe quickly, Etika Group, we have presence in Malaysia, Etika Insurance, Etika Takaful, also presence in Singapore as Etika Insurance Private Limited Singapore, also presence in the Philippines as Asian National Insurance, and a presence in Indonesia as Asoka Asuransi. When we talk about insurance and Takaful, it's very easy to just take it as one, but it's pretty complex. Yeah? We have life or family, and then we have general insurance and general Takaful. So the topic today is very much focused on the general Takaful aspect. And where do I point this? Okay. Yeah. This is where Etika Takaful is. And this is just the general Takaful side, so without the family Takaful. So where we are right now, I really shouldn't have shown the name of the competitors, but anyway, this is where we are. So we have a big presence in the general Takaful side, and it is mostly, this is motor Takaful business. So the light green are motor Takaful, and this, slightly darker green, that is fire. It's a term that we use, but what it means is actually building. Yeah? We cover building, whether it's houses, whether it's big building, so that comes under fire. And then you can also notice that personal accident, this is where something happened in an accident, then we make the claim payment. But you will notice that where the Takaful operators are mainly playing are mainly in the retail space, the individual space. Less so on the commercial space, which mainly comes under MAT or a little bit under fire. MAT is this part, yeah. So you hardly see this color anywhere. Yeah? Etika itself only have about 3 million. So the rest about 3 million here and there, you know, very small presence. These are the marine, aviation and transport. So these are the big airplane and that type of. In short, the Takaful operators in Malaysia in the general space are mainly in the retail business. Okay. Now, how are the Takaful products distributed? I'm using Etika Takaful specifically. So this is not an industry number. So we are still mainly very much agency, almost 400 million ringgit. These numbers are for last year 2016. 400 million out of a total year, if you add all these numbers up, about 870 million. Now this is just car Takaful, yeah, car or motor. So I'm not including fire, MAT, PA that we talked earlier. This is just car Takaful. Total 870 million last year for Etika Takaful, about 400 million from agency. So roughly about 46-47% still agency. However, this is 2016, yeah? Way back in, say, 5 years ago, agency formed about 80% of the total Takaful contribution. But over a period of 5 years' time, it has gone down to about 400 million. So about slightly half, from 80% to slightly half. Whereas we see the emergence of Bangka Takaful, although the growth is not been that great. So this is coming up. And Post Malaysia has come into the picture. I think the number is actually slightly more than this. It's closer to 70 million. Yeah. So in short, what we are seeing is not just the agency are playing. You have organization with extensive branches, branch network like Post Malaysia and banks to be distributing Takaful product as well. And we also have our own branches. Not that many people actually walk in to the branches, but there are some. And we also have the car dealers, or the new car dealers, the franchise holders we call them. They sell new cars, also doing similar amount between Bangka Takaful, franchise holders. And direct marketing is where we actually call the customers up for their renewals and so on. Yeah? But I think probably the one that interests people the most nowadays is digital, which basically is online sales. Now, 113 million was last year. We actually started this way back in 2006. In the first year itself, I think we probably sold like a few hundred policies in 1 year. Yeah? 113 million, if you convert to number of certificates or policies, that is actually about 140,000 customers in 2016. When we started in 2006, we only had not less than 1,000 customers. Yeah? So the growth has been pretty fast. In fact, the first 5 years, between 2006 and 2010, the first 5 years, we only had about 30 million in contribution. 5 years, this is 1 year. And then in the following period, between 2011 to 2015, we actually did close to close to 300 million. So you have 30 million first 5 years, almost 300 million in the second 5 years, and then 113 million in just 1 year alone last year. So that's how the growth has been coming up for the online space, especially for Takaful. For the other type of products like personal accident or fire, where people cover both, it is not picking up as fast, but we are beginning to see the traction that we saw back in 2006 and 2007. So it's not huge yet, but it's coming up. Alright, this is the title is not quite correct because the title is meant for the next slide. But what I'm showing here is, maybe I explain further. The bubble, size of the bubble, each of these represent the channel, the distribution channel. So if I take for example, this particular one, this is the franchise bubble. So it contributes about 10-11% of the total sales. Yeah? And for Post Malaysia, it contributes about 14%. This number is not quite correct, but roughly there. This is about 14%, this is about 10% of the total sales. So agency, about 47%. So the size represents their contribution at the moment, and in this case, our branch is the smallest contribution. Okay. Now, this scale here on the horizontal scale represent the size, the average size of the certificate. Meaning for each customers that purchase the product, the case size can be between 300 to more than 1,000 ringgit. And franchise being the distributors of new cars, intuitively would have the highest amount of case size. So that's why they average about 1,300 ringgit per certificate, whilst Post Malaysia only have an average of about 400 ringgit. So there are quite a number of information there. The case size. So this actually gives you an idea of what kind of customers and what kind of cars that they drive, and where they go to buy their Takaful coverage. And the vertical scale actually shows the average value of the vehicle. So for franchise holders, this is in thousand. So the average value of the vehicles is almost 70,000, whereas the Post Malaysia customers has an average vehicle value of about 15,000. And that's why it's going this way. So you can see, because the case size is pretty much determined by the vehicle value. Okay? And then in terms of age, we have agency, Bangka, Takaful and so on. This is the average age. The youngest clearly is the internet customers, which is not really a surprise, right? And the oldest being the Post Malaysia customers. Well, even then the difference is not really that huge. So we're really talking about 5 to 6 years range in terms of average. Vehicle age-wise, which is also quite related to the vehicle value. Yeah? As you can see, Post Malaysia, pretty old vehicle. And then you have Bangka Takaful and franchise clearly very, very new vehicle. So that's where it gives you some ideas where people are buying their Takaful from. So this is just a summary of what I just said. Now, I don't have. This is just Malaysia. I'm just trying to see, if this is the demographic of the population, where should you be playing? And especially with what I just mentioned earlier on the growth of the online channel. Okay, firstly, left hand side, blue, male. This is female. Now, people always say there are a lot more female than male, right? Especially the male always say that, trying to justify some motive. Yeah? But I think when you look at this number, at the age of 20 to 24 and 25 to 29, yeah, 20 to 24, there are 1.6 million male in Malaysia last year, whereas for female 20 to 24, there's actually less than 1.5 million. So there are actually more males than females, in a young age. In the young age. Yeah. Now as you go up further, probably the age of 55 to 59, you can see here, it is about the same, right? Yeah. About 600,000 male, almost 600,000 female, still fewer female. But as you get to 60 to 64, there are fewer male than female. And it remains the same all the way to 25. So basically the females are going to live longer than the males. But I think good news for the male down here is you can look for older female to get married, I suppose. Okay, that's just some. So this is the population, and clearly it is very much, a youngish population in Malaysia. So even more that you're going to be sure that you'll be able to attract the younger population to be purchasing from you, right? So this is one information. You see the online trend, you see this happening, and what it means is, the challenges for each of these channels. Digital clearly is going to come up, especially for product like Takaful, because you have to buy Takaful to drive on the road. Yeah? This is not something that you need someone to explain to you what the product is all about. You have to buy the product, and because of that, you want the easiest way to purchase the product. But as opposed to a family Takaful product, where you actually need someone to be explaining to you what are the features of the product and so on. So that's, but people can be price sensitive, just like what Suparno just mentioned earlier. And post-mention, I've shared this earlier, generally very basic product that they purchase. However, they also are very mindful of the safety of the people in the car and are very concerned about risk. They purchase, what we find is about 20% of them also purchase the personal accident cover. So in case there's some accident that affect the people in the car, they actually purchase it. And we have Market Takaful, which I mentioned, which is going to continue because they have the presence. And car dealers, as some people are selling cars, it's still going to be there. Even in this space, as you notice, recently Lazada has actually sold a car via their portal. People buy a car online without even actually drive testing the car. So that is happening. Agency will need to be more educated. They should be giving a lot more awareness to the customers. So we'll see less role in agents for the motor Takaful business, but maybe a lot more on the family Takaful business. And these are the factors. Suparno did touch on this. This is the type of coverages which also determine the different price. And I try to keep this simple because the actuarial people actually they use a lot more factors in driving the computation of the contribution. I'm keeping this as simple as you can, because really when you look at all the factors, the ones that are the biggest determinant of whether you're going to have a claim and the size of the claim is really your age. And this is the determinant of frequency of claim. However, the determinant for the cost of repair is actually the vehicle attributes, whether it's the sum cover of the vehicle, the age of the vehicle, and so on. What has our experience been? Okay, I'm going to explain this a little bit. This is the renewal ratio and the average contribution. This line is where the tarification happens. liberalization start here. And this is the case size that I mentioned earlier. On average, the scale is on the right hand side. So on average, the case size is about 660 ringgit per car. And actually, you see here that there's been an increase in the case size because there's been pretty good car sales number, in March 2017 onwards. Then what happens after July? Most people were expecting this number to really drop, but it didn't. There's a slight drop of maybe about 5% or so, but not really that much. And then at the same time, renewal ratio, this is the ratio of, let's say you have about 100 cars that you wrote last year that are eligible to renew this year, but maybe only 60 renew, then you compute that ratio to be 60%. So in this case, the number is about 57, right? So out of the 100 cars that we had from the previous year, only about 57 renewed in September 2016. So this comparison is all about comparing against the same month of the previous year. And as you can see, the renewal ratio count is pretty much holding. We don't really see a drop. But renewal ratio by contribution is there's a slight drop. In fact, you see this dropping because this is pulled by the case size going down. So that's a bit of a challenge. What it says is basically, you see people shopping around. We may not be the most competitive in some area, so you see people shopping around. Alright, but we keep monitoring this number because this will give an indication of whether you are in the market or you are off the market. Okay, this is a bit more technical. This is what we call model loss ratio. What it is every time the customer comes to us, we actually have an estimate of the likelihood of you will be getting involved in a claim, in an accident, and the likelihood of you making a claim, and the size of the claim. So it's like very much an actuarial method. What we tend to do is, there are some risks where we know that even with liberalization, the contribution that we are getting is still too much. Because what Bengara says, we had tariff before, you go into liberalization, you cannot actually reduce your contribution rate by more than 10%. For the good risk. Now for the better risk, for the worst, the bad risk, you cannot increase your contribution by more than 10% relative to the tariff before. So it's a plus 10 minus 10. And because of that, there are still risks, even though with liberalization, there are still risks that our rate is still too much. That is when we're supposed to be giving them a 20 or 30% lower rates, but we could only give 10% lower. So our minus 10 is still too much. And there are also risks where we're supposed to be asking for 10% more or 20% more, but we can only do 10%. So it's still too low. And because it's still too low, those risks become what we say our rate ratio. But those where we can actually, we are supposed to be charging a lot less, but it's not allowed by the authority yet, they become this green or dark green. Now you can see all this. So the taller this darker bar go, the better for the company. But as you can see here, there's a slight increase. This is actually slightly less than 50%. But as you go towards the right hand side, it's actually slightly more than 50%. So that is actually reducing the overall, the tower cost. And the result is, you see the expected loss of claim ratio going down for us. Now this is not the actual experience. This is the expected experience from the customers that come to you in that particular month. So in the month of September 2017, the portfolio of customers that buy from us, we expect that portfolio to be generating about 70.8% in terms of claims ratio. Whereas the customer that came in September 2016, we expect that to be about almost 72%. So, any question? This is a little bit technical, but we gotta monitor the portfolio this way. So the idea is the taller the green, the better. This is even more technical, but this is where you price yourself. Before, don't try to understand anything. Let me explain quickly. Just follow me. Alright. What we have is, firstly, we determine what the technical rate should be. With all the various factors, we say, so Mr. So and so, with the risk that you have, you should be paying a contribution of 1,000 ringgit. And the tariff used to be, say, 500 ringgit. For example. Then Negara says, you cannot charge more than 10%, right? So instead of charging the 1,000, you actually charge 500 plus 50, just 550. Or on the opposite side, we compute it to be 500 ringgit. The tariff used to say is 1,000 ringgit, right? Of course, you cannot go all the way down to 500. You can only give 10% discount of 900 ringgit. So that's what happened. So this is all relative to our price, to your company pricing. So this is, let's say, this is your company, and you are this yellow dots. This is the price that you charge. And so what he's saying here is, right now you are charging this percentage, but this is actually still more by 30%. Do this by more, 30% more than what you should actually be charging. At this point, you are charging 40% more than what your actuaries say you should be charging. At this point, you are just about right. So your actuary says you should charge at that price. You are actually able to charge at that price. Exactly. Here, all the way to the right hand side, you are basically overcharging, because the regulation doesn't allow you to go all the way down. But over time, what you're going to be seeing is all this price, you're going to start to drift downwards, closer to what your actuary says you should be charging. Okay? Got it? Now, the left hand side, this is where, because of the limit on the 10% up, we are charging something here that is 10% lower than what the actuary says we should be charging. So this is all this side, we are charging lower than what we supposed to be charging. So in short, what does this mean? These are the green that we talk about. These are the red that we talked about earlier. Then you start looking at what the competitors are doing. So this is yours, and then you see that they charge all over the place. This blue dots company clearly are like having the most uncompetitive rates, because they are like all over above your company, so they're charging more than what you think should be charged. So this line, if we are along this line, that means you are charging per what your actuaries are telling you to do. But this is what you are doing now, this green, this black line. But this particular company, on average, they are all along above your technical pricing line. Then there's this company where somehow, they are more expensive on the risk, that is better, but cheaper on the risk, that is supposed to be not so good. And then we have another company where they are actually lower, cheaper in the risk, they are not so good, but they are also cheaper on the risk, they are supposed to be good. Yeah. So these are actually 4 real companies, but I cannot be disclosing the companies. So that's how you monitor. And then, so based on this, as far as distribution is concerned, what you try to do is, you try to move this product so that you become the cheapest here, but the most expensive here. So you try to move this black line to be tilting this way. Okay, any question on this? No question? I suppose I'm being very clear. Okay. But all in all, I know the mandate to me was to be talking about the challenges in distribution. But what I shared earlier was, how distribution has changed. Yeah? More internet, less dependency on agency, and then the presence of institution with extensive branch network. Yeah? So that's really about distribution. But for us, actually, we have to go back to why the Takaful operator exists in the first place, which is when a misfortune happens, you are supposed to be there and do it the best that you can. So that's why, as far as you're concerned, you try to focus on the claim side of our operation. So, and then you start looking, when an accident happens, you do the repair. What are the challenges that your customers face? Sometimes you say, I got involved in an accident. Motorcycle knocked me from the right hand side. Only my my door is damaged. So they did the spray painting and so on. But now it doesn't look so smooth all around. So it looks just a little bit different under the sun, for example. So you try to provide the coverage where upfront you can take for an additional contribution. Something little like that happen, we spray paint the whole car. That's one example. Yeah? Then there's also this concept of betterment, where when an old car gets involved in an accident, say a 15-year-old car, you cannot get new spare parts. The concept is your car was old, so the repair cannot be done using new spare parts. That's the concept. So it causes a lot of problem, but if you can better, that's why it's called betterment, you can better the parts to become new by paying something at the point of claim itself. So most people don't want to do that. So we say, if your car is not so new, you're concerned about this, you can add another contribution, a little bit more, so that you will be ensured of getting new parts and something like that. So those are one of the things, and here there's also the smart key replacement. And we also are working with 2 parties on this usage base, but it's based on telematics. But the problem with telematics is, what happens is, there's something that is put in your car that can tell what your driving pattern is. Whether you do the hard braking, whether you do the hard swerving, whether you are very consistent, steady driver, no hard braking, so on. And then there's a score of 0 to 100 of what your driving pattern is like. So if you do a lot of jerking and fast acceleration, hard stopping, hard swerving, you're probably going to get a score of 15 or 10 or something like that. But if you're very steady, nothing like that, then you're probably going to get a score of 90. But the challenge is, not many people will allow a Takaful operator to put anything in your car so that you know, okay, you are here, you are there, and so on. And you know about you, I wouldn't allow any Takaful operators to do that to my car. Yeah? The only time I will allow a Takaful operator to do that is to put in my son's car. But not my own car. Right? So, because I want to make sure that he drives good and so on, I don't have to pay expensive contribution in terms of Takaful. And the other reason that people may want to put that is when you have a sizable fleet, you run a business, you probably have 10 vehicles, you want to make sure all your drivers drive carefully and so on, you want to put that in the lorries. But there's opportunity there. We don't think everyone will actually subscribe to that, but we think there will be some segments where this is going to be useful. Yeah? And when it gets really expensive, I think we can foresee where you're just going to be paying for the period that you're going to be driving the car as opposed to the whole year where you may not be driving the car all the time. Yeah? So that's one. This one is our big deal. I said to the team, first and foremost, we are Takaful operator. Number one job, you should be there when a misfortune happens. So we want any claim settlement to be settled as far as possible. Our dream is really instantaneously. Yeah? So on the Takaful space, we have not managed to do that. But on the travel Takaful space, we can do that because you can actually link yourself to all the international flight data, where if a customer, when they purchase from us, they notify us of the flight number, so we know straight away if your flight is delayed. So when your flight is delayed, what happens is, we straight away bank the compensation money into your account before you even notify us of the claim, because we know straight away. Right? Then we just text you, we are banking this amount of money because we notice your flight is delayed, and then hopefully nothing bad happens to you. So it can be done that way. So more and more now, when you link to all this Google API and so on, you can do this kind of thing. Yeah? Because you're going to be genuine claim, fast. The concern that the Takaful operators have is some people will try to cheat us. That's the concern. Some people will try to fraud us and so on. And because of that, all the insurance company or Takaful operators are cautious. We gotta ask all kind of questions. We gotta investigate everyone, so that we want to ensure we don't get cheated by the 5% or so that try to do so. But the problem with that is all the claimants are subjected to this, investigation. So what we are saying is, study the pattern of the customers that this particular claim for sure, almost 100%, inshallah, genuine. So when the algorithm says so, you pay instantaneously. Yeah? So for the windscreen claim, when the customer comes to our office, so they walk in, they go up and ask for reimbursement. Sometimes they pay for the repair first, come up and they want to do the reimbursement. So we do the settlement, back into their account. So before they go in and leave our building, they can actually go to the ATM and withdraw the money. So it's done there and then. And I think this would be the main differentiator as far as insurance company and Takaful operators are concerned, because much of the complaints of the public has been on, Takaful operators, you are very quick to collect money from me, but when it comes to claim, it's very difficult to get from you. So there's a bit of that perception. We try to move away as quickly as you can from that perception. And then on the own damage for vehicle, this is where your car got into an accident and it's damaged. We tell our workshop, submit there and then we give the approval within 30 minutes so that we can start the repair almost the moment the car go into the workshop. So that the customer can get the car as soon as possible. And what we are telling them to is, we'll do our random check, we're going to give this fast approval, fast payment, but the moment even a little single claim from our customer about the quality of your repair or the quality of your service, or whatever it is that they are not happy about, you will not be entitled to this fast approval and fast payment anymore. So we hope with that, we will drive them to do better service for our customers. And of course, the online sales, we just have to figure out how to make it easier and easier. I think that's the last bit of my slide. Yeah, thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Thank you for the insightful deliberation, and it's very interesting to get the direct source information. It's very interesting for me, especially. So that's why I when you mentioned about the credited I think surplus, I realized last week I received automatic transfer from Etika from my Takaful contribution. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we have listened to both speakers' deliberation on the topics that we have assigned to them. So now we open session for the question and answers. So for those who have question in mind, you can ask directly by stating your name, your study, as well as the person that you are going to ask the question. Okay, I open the session now.
I think so. You can hear my voice, right?
Yeah.
With the implementation of the tariff system, the pricing will be different by companies, right? My question is that when within the same group we have two entities, one is Takaful and one is insurance, how do you see this will affect pricing both? Will one will be cheaper than the other or not?
Right now we charge the same price. We charge the same price, and that's why
You see for Etika, what's happening is our customers are gravitating towards the Takaful side, mainly because the price is the same, but for Takaful you get a share of the surplus. Right? So in short, it is actually a better product than the conventional side.
But that is now. But how do you see things moving forward?
Moving forward, what I'm foreseeing is,
When you fully implement all this tariff.
correct. What I'm foreseeing is, not just I think many of the conventional players will try to come up with some kind of surplus sharing model as well to be competitive. Because if the growth on the Takaful side is actually a lot faster than conventional, and it's mainly because the choice of the customers of wanting to go and have the surplus sharing part. Because if they don't very well, don't have any claim, I should be entitled to some of the surplus. And I foresee that the conventional players some of them may actually move towards that space. And actually for Etika, the likelihood may happen. It won't be so soon, but that's a possibility.
But is that your policy within Etika, for example, or maybe only or also? Is that a policy where you will always have the same price for Takaful convention? Because the pricing factor, the concept is slightly different.
For now it is. I'm not foreseeing any change because what we say is the price is the same. You choose which one you want to go to. I know I wouldn't say it's written anywhere, but that's just how it's been for the past few years and after the clarification. And I'm not foreseeing any change in the pricing. If any, it will be the change on the conventional model to share the surplus with the customers.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Asif. I'm a PhD student. I just have a simple question to Mr. Sufan Ahmad regarding the NCD. As been stated earlier, you said that as long as the policy owner does not incur any accident, the NCD will increase year by year. Is there any limit, or is it until limit until to 55% only?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. NCD, they made the no claim discount under the tariff environment. So it states that the customer is entitled for the discount for the next renewal if he or she has not made any insurance claim or insurance claim for the period. So he is entitled for the discount for the next renewal. For the first year it is 25%, and for the next second year if there is no claim, then we will increase 27, 33, 1 and 1/3, then maximum of 55%. So that is specified under the tariff. And to answer deliberate further, under the tariffication environment, this has been discussed among the industry player with the regulator, which has been decided that for the moment that the insurer and Takaful operator, we will not make any changes to the NCD, only the pricing for the comprehensive third-party fire and theft only, and then the pricing for the third-party still stick as per the motor tariff. So NCD is still NCD, maximum of 55%. Yeah.
It's pretty punitive.
Because you take a while to get to 55. The moment you have a claim, you go all the way to 0. So it's not like, you go from 55% discount, then you gradually maybe just 2 steps back or 3 steps back. You actually go all the way back to 0. What we have, actually you may find it weird. This is a structure that has been in place since 1978. So even before some of you were born. 1978, we have had that. After the first year of no claim, it goes to 25%. So a quarter discount, 1 year of claim free. Then the jump is not linear or anything like that. You go from 25, 30, 38, 45, 55. So it's a little bit weird. In fact, I think the more recent study shows that 25% is actually too much, but the 55% going to 0 is actually also too harsh. So, I foresee that over the next few years you may see a little bit of change in there. But I don't foresee the 55% to be 60 or 70 per your question.
Sorry, one more question. After the tariff, do you see any change, or do you think there will be any change to the surplus payout to the customer? Will it be higher? Will it be better? Will it be now because of the environment will be more competitive? There is no more tariff. Then the surplus will become smaller and smaller.
I can only offer a guess. I think it's going to be smaller because it's so driven by price competition, and because of that, the room for surplus is going to get squeezed. But I just don't foresee that happening too quickly in Malaysia because how Negara is doing the liberalisation. On the flip side, if people drive better because they know they're going to get surplus and so on, there may be a chance that the surplus is still there. But if you want me to just give one answer, I think it's going to get smaller.
I just want to add on that commentary. The percentage of the surplus, it won't be that drastic because number one, the variation of the price up and low is within the percentage of 10%. So the price difference, which is contribute to the collection of the gross written premium as compared to the risk factor, will be I will say that it will diminish. It will be within that tolerance limit of that 10%. So the impact of the surplus will not that huge of the difference. And of course, the determinant of the surplus for the individual country will be based on the performance of the respective fund of the companies, and will be tied back to the risk profile and the risk appetite to run the business.
Yes, one more question. As you mentioned by Mr. Subhanu Ahmad, due to this liberalisation, Takaful and insurance industry has been affected by it. Is there any measure taken by all these companies, because they need the price will be sensitive, as you mentioned before, so they can provide greater choice of products. So how they plan, or is there any measure taken, because they need to compete with a lot of companies? I think that's all.
Again, under the tariff environment, it is really dependent on your business strategy and your risk appetite. If the company has decided to not to write the old age of vehicle, then under the tariff environment, then the company will not write for this class of business. Or if the focus is just to underwrite or to accept the business for the private use and to exclude commercial vehicle, then that will be the individual respective company decision. This is how we want to monitor the performance and the exposure of the risk fund for the motor insurance or motor Takaful segment.
Any other question? No question. Okay. With that, I think that we end this session. I believe that we have gained a lot of information as well as new knowledge on the liberalisation progress and challenges which can benefit us in the long run. So for those who do not have the topic for this is the best topic, I think. Okay, that's all. On behalf of the IIiBF Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance Student Society, I would like to thank to our both guest speaker, Encik Suparno and Encik Kamaludin, for the sharing thoughts. Okay, I hand over to the chairman. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you also for Mr. Ahmad and Mr. Subhanu Ahmad for sharing a lot of wisdom and knowledge with us. Without further delay, I would like to invite Dr. Adam Abdullah to give a token of appreciation to our guests. Please welcome Dr. Adam. Mr. Ahmad.
Very much. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Please welcome Mr. Subhanu Ahmad.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Before we leave, I would like to invite all of you to have a photo session with our guest speaker. They can be used or to be used. Yes. Please welcome.